In this video, I will show you the guides for each visual effects style and how you can use them to level up your current effects. What's up guys, it's Plebere. Today we will be going over the different styles of VFX and the principles that make these styles different. If you are a new or an experienced developer, you will gain something valuable from this video. When starting out with VFX development, it is important to pay attention to each core style of effects: realistic, stylized, and cartoony. Of course, there are a bunch of subgenres that I won't really get into, but these are our core three. Each one of these styles is unique and requires a different skill set and even tools to create different effective visuals. Now let's dive right in. Style itself can be defined as the representation of art, or how does someone visualize your art. We as humans can look at one piece of art and immediately have feelings, connection, and stories behind it just based on the style of art. For instance, this image of SpongeBob, we look at it and immediately think, cartoony, fun, lighthearted. Whereas the picture of Kratos opens the floodgates to a whole different array of feelings. With VFX, those feelings are vastly important, because as a developer, you want the players to feel a specific way, or simply just match the overall vibe of the project. In deciding the style for your effect, it is important to consider the pillars that are substantial to you and what you enjoy. The same two pillars might describe multiple game styles. Here are some examples now. Let's say to you, the pillars of vibrant and friendly are the VFX style you connect most with. We can take a look at a game like Super Mario Wonder and see that the game is defined by a very inviting and snappy design. Everything in this game is super cartoony and is done that way on purpose. Let's say your feel is more dark and realistic. You might look at a game like Call of Duty and say, hey, I really like the way the effects feel in this game, and no matter how, you feel some sort of connection to the pillars in the VFX. It is important to ask yourself, what pillars of art or VFX do I connect with and want to focus on, because that can help define your individual style. Now, I see a lot of people just say, don't narrow yourself into one style. And yeah, while it is true for a lot of more experienced VFX artists to branch out into different styles, when you are starting out, picking and mastering one style will without a doubt teach you so much more than trying to dip your toes into different styles. For instance, for cartoon VFX, this is going to require you to do a lot of 3D hand drawing of textures, which that in itself can take a long time to become proficient at, whereas a more realistic VFX style will require vast knowledge in effects and softwares like Embregan. Now, before I get into some specific guidelines for each style, it is vital I explain some general ideas regarding VFX development. Repeat after me, okay? Nothing else matters except how satisfied the player is with the effect. I can give you a whole bunch of guidelines and principles for each style, but at the end of the day, your job as a VFX artist is to make effects that people enjoy. If that involves breaking some of those guidelines for the betterment of the effect, by all means, go ahead. First off, let's go over a cartoony. When we talk about cartoony VFX, we're talking about effects that are exaggerated, playful, and super bold. Shapes are simple and chunky, colors are bright and saturated, and everything is designed to be instantly readable. The motion usually follows animation principles like squash and stretch. You'll see a lot of snappy timing. A great example of this is the new Donkey Kong game. Everything in that game feels vibrant, friendly, and inviting. When you smash objects, collect bananas, or land an attack, the effects explode in a super snappy, exaggerated way. The game leans into cartoony charm on purpose, using textures and bold color pops to match its fun, lighthearted vibe. The key with cartoony VFX is simplicity and clarity. You don't want to overcomplicate it with realistic detail. That actually weakens the style. Instead, the charm comes from making things big, bouncy, and easy to read. Now, let's move into stylized VFX, which sits right in between cartoony and realistic. Oftentimes, people confuse the difference between cartoony and stylized. However, stylized effects defined by clear, sharp, and cohesive design. They're often designed to match a game's art's direction exactly, so everything feels like it belongs in that world. Here, the textures are often painterly and semi-realistic. You might see hand-painted noise, smooth gradients, or abstract shapes that don't exist in real life but look perfect in the game. The colors are balanced, vibrant, but not oversaturated, and the motion feels smooth and deliberate. There's usually anticipation and a follow-through built. Examples? The best one is Valorant. Look at its explosions, muzzle flashes, or character abilities. They're not realistic at all, but they're super slick, stylized, and easy to understand in the middle of fast gameplay. Stylized effects typically follow realistic principles such as timing and size, whereas cartoony effects tend to ignore some of these physics. The big thing here is consistency. Mixing overly realistic elements into a stylized game will break immersion effect. Finally, let's talk about realistic VFX. This is where things are grounded in the real world. Fire, smoke, dust, sparks, rain, all behaving exactly as you would expect in real life. These effects are usually built using photoreal textures or simulations from tools like Embergen, Houdini, or After Effects. Colors are natural too. Fire has those orange to blue gradients, smoke has depth from light to dark grays, and blood doesn't look like flat red paint. It looks believable. The motion is slower and more physics-driven, following gravity, turbulence, and fluid simulation. A game like Battlefield takes it even further with destruction physics, massive dust clouds, and debris flying everywhere. The challenge with realistic VFX is balance. Too much detail can actually overwhelm the player and make things feel muddy, so you need to focus on realism that enhances immersion, not realism for its own sake. That's it for this video. I hope you gained something. I have really enjoyed making these videos lately, and I'm hoping to try and get more content out posting regularly. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.